Welcome to Learning English with Captain Binoy Varakil, Assistant Professor, Department of English, St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, Kozhikode, Kerala. Today we discuss the previous question paper of A02 Ways with Words, the common course of English prescribed for the first semester degree students of the colleges of University of Calicut. This pattern of the previous question paper of November 2019 is of maximum marks of 80, and the time is 2.5 hours. We have, as in the A01, section A, section B and 3. There are 3 sections, A, B and C. And in section A and section B, we have ceiling. That is, the student can answer all the questions and ensure they get the maximum marks. And section A is answer the following questions, each carries 2 marks. And there are 15 questions, and we know normally if it's 15 into 2, 30 marks, but no, the student is not getting 30 marks here because the ceiling is at 25. So if the student writes maybe 13 questions and all the 13 answers are perfectly okay, he or she will get 13 into 2, 26. What does it mean? Such a student who has answered all the questions, 13 questions, perfectly well, needn't answer the 15 questions. 25 marks is assured. But there may be some students who are not sure about all the answers, and they may not write or get 2 for all the questions. They can maybe get 1 marks for 10 and maybe get 1.5 for the remaining 5. So it could be something like 15.5. Or there may be some students who get some 2 for 8 and remaining maybe 1.5 and all. So if you answer all the 15 questions in section 1, you get maximum score. But excellent students who answer all the questions in good English, with all the points required, with perfect grammar, perfect punctuation, will not have to answer all the 15 and maybe waste time and energy. But this is of course a very good and useful, beneficial pattern for students, right? So you have section A, answer the following questions, each carries 2 marks, 15 questions, ceiling at 25. And section B, answer the following questions, each carry 5 marks. There are 8 questions, 8 into 5, 40, but the ceiling is at 35. So any student who is well, or rather very sure about all the answers and answer in very good language, need to write 8. 7 into 5, 35 maximum he or she gets. But maybe if he is doubtful that maybe I don't get 5 for all the 8, okay, 4, okay, he can just write all the 8 and ensure maximum, ceiling at 35. And section C, answer any 2 questions, each carry 10 marks. You have 4 essay questions, you need to answer only 2. 2 into 10, that is 20 marks. So altogether section A maximum of 25, section B maximum of 35, that is 60, and section C maximum of 20, that is 60 plus 20, 80 marks. Let's look at the questions now. So these questions answer to the point, not more than 2 sentences, just maximum 2 sentences, right? So first question, why does the speaker scorn to change his state with kings? This is, as we know from Ways with Words, the poem Sonnet 29 of William Shakespeare. Why does the speaker scorn to change his state with kings? The speaker, William Shakespeare, doesn't want to change his state with the state of the kings. That is, he believes that with the love of his beloved, he is richer than the kings, and he does scorn to change his state with kings. Okay, very wonderful sonnet of William Shakespeare, Sonnet 29. Second question, what did Death tell merchant about his servant? Okay, so we have the story Appointment in Samara by William Somerset Maugham. In this sonnet, we see that the servant comes to the market to buy provisions, right? But there he sees a lady, that is, of course, Death, and Death told the merchant about his servant that Death was surprised to see the servant in Baghdad, as the servant and Death were going to have an appointment or a meeting in Samara. Okay, so Death said that Death was not just frightening the servant, it was servant's shock to see Death in Baghdad city. Now we come to the third question. What is the childish longing in vain that the speaker refers to in the poem? So the poem is Robert Frost, A Roadside Stand, and in this beautiful poem about poor farmers in the villages, Robert Frost speaks that childish longing in vain. Childish longing in vain refers to the great longing or desire of the farmers for the rich people driving that way in their luxurious car to stop beside the roadside stand and buy some farm products, maybe some apple, or maybe some fruits, or maybe the painting they have there. So that is the childish longing in vain. So they have very, very negative experience, like these people are not going to buy anything. They will only ask for some gallon of petrol, or which direction is Cincinnati or New York. They would just inquire and return. They are sure, but still they just long and pray that someone may stop there and buy something. Now the fourth question. What is the stanzaic structure of a Shakespearean sonnet? Stanzaic structure of a Shakespearean sonnet. Okay, we know that Shakespearean sonnet is of 3 quatrains of 4 lines and a couplet of 2 lines. Stanzaic structure, 3 quatrains of 4 lines and a couplet of 2 lines. Next question, fifth question. How does Jerome's aunt describe his father's death? Jerome's aunt in Graham Greene's A Shocking Accident describes the death of his father in a very prolonged, extended narration, and by the end of the narration, often the listeners burst into laughter that Jerome's father died in an accident involving a pig, and that's very painful and shameful, and Jerome doesn't want his aunt, or Jerome doesn't want his friends or his beloved or anybody to listen to his aunt's long extended narrative. Okay, next question, number 6. Why does the poet want to relearn how to laugh? Why does the poet want to relearn how to laugh? So this question is from Gabriel O'Hara's Once Upon a Time. So the poet is lamenting, crying over the change that has come to his generation, the older generation. Growth has transformed him. Experience has transformed him and the other adults, and they lost innocence. And people, as they grow, become negative-minded, greedy, selfish, and they don't smile or laugh like young people with innocence. So the poet is addressing his son, who is innocent and who has very pure, innocent, sincere smiles, that he wants to relearn how to laugh. Right? Next question. What is the best and worst of remembering? We have the wonderful poem by Maya Angelou which is titled Old Folks Laugh. And in the poem Old Folks Laugh, Maya Angelou speaks about the best and worst of remembering. So old people, having lived very long lives of 75 years, 80 years, 85 years, 90 years, they have a lot of experience, they have a lot of reminiscences, a lot of memories, and they know the best and worst of remembering. The best and worst of remembering is, the best of remembering is joy. The worst of remembering is sorrow. So the best and worst of remembering is just happiness and sadness, right? Next question. What happens when old folks laugh according to the poet? According to Maya Angelou, when the old folks laugh, they free the world. The world just is freed, and the world is also feeling very, very joyful and excited, and maybe the world can also laugh along with the old people. Now, question number 9. What do the snakes stand for in snakes' bare fangs? So the poem again is from Once Upon a Time of Gabriel O'Hara, and snakes stands for the kind of poison, or the kind of change, transformation, the kind of selfishness, kind of negativity that has come, for selfishness that has just entered the adult people, and it stands for the evil in the adult world. Next question. Why did Petty hate swimming at school? It is from the wonderful story of Patricia Grace. It used to be green once, and Petty hates swimming at school because Petty has to wear a toga or swimsuit which is very, very big. Maybe Petty is of 10-inch chest size, but the swimsuit given is 30 or 40 size, and Petty hates swimming at school. Next question. How does the author describe Sally? Sally is described as a beautiful young lady of 26 years. Next question. Why did Uncle Ross give Dad his car? Uncle Ross can't use his old car. It has no brake, and often he is charged in the city, and Uncle Ross is bequeathing or giving away the car to Dad of the speaker. That is, it used to be green once. Patricia Grace is the author. Next question, why did the servant flee to Samara? The servant in Somerset Maugham's appointment, Samara, flees to Samara thinking that he is going to be safe there. He saw death in Baghdad and he thinks that he will be safe in Samara, and the servant flees to Samara. Next question, what are differences that the father finds between him and his son? In Once Upon a Time of Gabriel Okara, the father finds a lot of dissimilarities between he and his son. His son has lost his innocence, and his son is smiling with innocence, and his smile is of course very natural and spontaneous, and he is very, very pure. But his father lost his innocence, and his father thinks about how he is going to benefit. So he doesn't greet others with positive feelings. He doesn't talk to others with positive feelings. He says goodbye with a feeling of getting rid of the person. And the father, an adult of the older generation, lost his innocence and purity, but his son, who is just about to commence the life, has sinned, lost his purity and innocence, and he see maybe hypocrisy and snobbery and pretension in the older generation, his own older generation, and innocence and purity and spontaneous natural behavior in the young generation of his son. Question number 15. How could dad buy a new car? It is from It Used to Be Green Once of Patricia Grace. Dad could buy a new car with the $50,000 lottery they won. With that, the 15th question, we come to the end of section A, and we come to section B, where we have to answer 8 questions. In fact, there is a maximum score of 35, ceiling at 35. So the paragraph question number 1, this is paragraph question, you have to answer in 1 page. Describe the images of personification in the poem Ode to Autumn. So John Keats' Ode to Autumn is the wonderful poem in which we see plenty of personification. The entire poem, personification, we see autumn season is personified there. So we have autumn season just personified as a gleaner, personified as a pagan goddess, then again personified as just a young lady looking at the last oozings from a cedar, an apple wine cedar. Okay, so plenty of personifications in the poem. And again we have the description of the autumn season as a friend of, a bosom friend of the sun, and they just conspire with each other, and the result of their conspiracy is the filling up of the gourds and fruits in different trees and plants and orchards. So this poem, Ode to Autumn, is noted with beautiful images of personification. Now we come to the next paragraph question. Discuss the fictive depiction of death in Appointment in Samara. Okay, Appointment in Samara, we have the depiction of death as a female, death as a lady, and we see the servant of the master coming to the city of Baghdad to buy provisions, and he's being shocked by the very appearance of the lady death, and he runs away. That is the story. It is very, very fictive, very imaginative representation, very imaginative depiction of death. Death is depicted as a lady for the very, very kind of bewitching aspect of death, and this is of course taken from the play Sheppy, and now we can write the details of death come maybe unexpectedly. Death will come unexpectedly, and people will be very, very afraid, because nobody wants to die, and that very unexpected, abrupt occurrence of death is very wonderfully explained in the wonderful story, Appointment in Samara. Now we come to the next paragraph question. Elucidate the aspects of time and change in the house of my childhood. So, House of My Childhood of Dilip Chitre is about the different aspects of time and change. Okay, so we have Dilip Chitre, the poet. He has become very old, and he is in his second childishness. Second childishness is old age. So he is very old, and he comes back to the house of his childhood, maybe in a dream, or he comes to this house realistically. It could be realistic, or it could be just maybe an imagination. Anyway, when he comes there, he is loaded with, he has a lot of nostalgic memories. He remembers the very house. He has a lot of memories from each and every nook and corner of the house, where he hears a lot of noise. All this is from his childhood. The noise of birds, bird songs, each and every branches of the trees beside the house, and a lot of scenes. All the members of the family, especially grandpa, grandma, they are just taking little boy poet. He is holding to the fingers of the grandparents, walking around. Lot of memories. So this poem is wonderful and nostalgic, and of course anyone who is in his old age will remember the childhood days in a nostalgic way. And as also this poem is about change. We know that the surroundings undergo a lot of change. As we grow, we change, and nature also changes. The trees, just shed the leaves and branches, and change happen to the surroundings again. And we know day by day there is development, and developmental projects just clear or just erase whatever was in our childhood days. So as we come back after many years to the house or the place where we lived as young boys and girls, we see a lot of change, and that change of time and place is wonderfully represented in the poem The House of My Childhood. Next question: what is the rhyme scheme of a Shakespearean sonnet? We know Shakespearean sonnet is of 14 lines, 3 quatrains, and a couplet of 2 lines, rhyming A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and G, G. Now, I repeat once again, the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Next question, paragraph question. Discuss Jerome's thoughts about the death of his father. Jerome, the boy, is in his residential school, his public school, and his house master, Mr. Wordsworth, tells him that he had a call from his aunt that Jerome's father had an accident, and Jerome suddenly thinks about his father, and like any child, who has read a lot of wonderful books, especially detective books and heroic books, thinks that his father has a death, very heroic death, like his father is having a fighting with maybe some smugglers, and in that fighting there is of course exchange of bullets, firing, and he thinks that his father might have died in such an encounter with smugglers or villains or some criminals, and that's the kind of heroic death Jerome wishes his father to have, But unfortunately, in the story, we know that Jerome's father dies in a very, very pathetic way, in which, as he is walking in the streets of Naples in Italy, a pig falls on his head from the balcony of a 5-storied old apartment, and he dies in such a tragic way. Next question, paragraph question. Comment on Keats' treatment of nature. Very wonderful and useful and good question, in which we see the treatment of nature of John Keats, right? So John Keats, like all the other romantic poets, they are all worshippers of nature. They worship nature. That is, of course, pantheism is the philosophy in which nature is being worshipped. So this poem, Ode to Autumn, Keats is just describing nature in a wonderful way. Nature is, especially autumn season, is described in a wonderful way, in which we see how we have a lot of images that just satisfy all our senses. We hear, we taste, we just feel, we just we can touch, we can see with our eyes a lot of beautiful scenes. We hear a lot of sounds. We also taste. All the senses of the human beings is being fed with wonderful descriptions, right? So nature is treated as a god and goddess, and nature is of course the center of everything, and treatment of nature is so perfect in romantic poetry, so too in Ode to Autumn. Now, along with this, we can just have beautiful descriptions from Ode to Autumn. Next paragraph question: how does the farmer assess city life? This is from Robert Frost's poem, A Roadside Stand, and we know the politicians and bureaucrats and the senators, they are just offering the farmers in the villages of United States of America better life in the city. So under the after a conspiracy with the real estate mafia and brokers and all, the politicians just coerce and tempt the farmers to shift to the city. But we know that farmers cannot rest in the city. Farmers cannot sleep in the city, because the kind of sound that come from the factories and the engines, the engines of the vehicles and the maybe trains and the sound of sirens from factories and all will be a disturbance to the farmers, and they always prefer to rest in their small farmhouses in the village, where they have natural the songs of nature, songs of birds, again fresh air and the very cooling air of unpolluted, uncontaminated nature. And farmer assess city life as pretentious and very dull. They don't have to do anything in the city, but in the village they have a lot of works to do. Morning to evening they work hard, and after the day's work in the evening they can comfortably sleep. But in the city they don't have anything to do, and life in the city is dreary, dull and monotonous, and they don't like the city life. Next question: autobiographical elements in The House of My Childhood. Okay, Dilip Chitra's The House of My Childhood is very autobiographical and nostalgic. The poet remembers the experience he had at his grandmother's house. He remembers his grandma. He remembers whatever stories his grandma told. He remembers walking in the company of grandma. He has all the memories connected with the house of his grandma. All the rooms, all the corners of the house, all the objects there, household objects, utensils, the effigies, the statues of the gods, then of course the furniture, then outside the house, the trees, the plants, the flowers, the birds, the branches of the trees, the music of the birds, the sounds of the members of the house, the stories grand. There's a lot of wonderful memories, and this poem is very much autobiographical, and it is loaded with nostalgic feelings and images. So with that we come to the end of section B, paragraph questions. Now we come to section C. Answer any 2 questions, each carry 10 marks. 4 questions, we need to answer only 2, maximum 10 marks, maximum 3 pages. That is it. First question, discuss the theme of inequality as depicted in the poem A Roadside Stand. A Roadside Stand of Robert Frost is about the life of people in the village, life of people in the city. And village people are poor farmers depending on the farm. City people are big industrialists, businessmen, and of course they are very, very rich. They have luxury cars, they travel far and wide, they make a lot of money, they have bags full of dollars. But poor people, they just do not have any money, and they wish to have a single dollar, maybe $5. When the big people dream about work with millions and billions of dollars, poor people in the villages think of having $5 and $10. Of course, this poem, A Roadside Stand, is very much about inequality. And Robert Frost won the inequality in United States of America to end. He wants the politicians and the congressmen to do something to help the misery and poverty of the village people. That is, of course, the poem Inequality as the theme of The Roadside Stand. Next question, comment on the theme of the poem Sonnet 29. William Shakespeare's Sonnet 29 is about the pathetic time, despicable time, unfortunate time, misery in the life of everybody. Maybe we have some bad luck. Maybe we do not have any kind of development or happiness. We are abandoned. We are just given up. We don't have any friends. Nobody is supporting us, nobody is helping us, and we feel like in despicable situation. But we feel that we are just like Job in the Bible. Suddenly, maybe we remember that we have somebody's friendship, we have somebody's love, we have somebody's companionship. That person will help us. That person will give us some kind of happiness or joy, and that aspect of human life is represented in Sonnet 29 of William Shakespeare. Now question number 3, examine Tennessee Williams' portrayal of Cornelia Scott as and Grace Lancaster. Something unspoken, the play, the portrayal of Cornelia Scott and Grace Lancaster. We know this is about 2 ladies, Cornelia Scott and Grace Lancaster. Because of their upbringing, because of their background, Cornelia Scott very rich and aristocratic, and Grace Lancaster poor and suffering from a lot of inferiority feelings. Okay, they cannot communicate despite of living together for 15 years. They know each other for 18 years. They live together for 15 years in the same building, but they fail to share their likes, dislikes and dreams, and they do not love each other the way Grace Lancaster as well as Cornelia Scott wishes to have very passionate relationship with each other, but because of their psychological problem, because of the superiority feeling of Cornelia Scott and the inferiority feeling of Grace Lancaster, they do not. And like the theme of all the plays of Tennessee Williams, this play is also about the kind of suppressed and oppressed desires of women, especially lonely women. Okay. Now we come to the last question. Ode to Autumn is one of the thematically rich odes of English literature discussed. John Keats' Ode to Autumn has been profusely praised as a thematically rich ode. It's about the autumn season. It's about the scenes of autumn season. It's about the taste of autumn season. It's about the wonderful songs of the autumn season. And we have three stanzas. In three of these stanzas, John Keats is building on the concept of visuals from the autumn season, the taste, and of course the very very how you feel the autumn season. Lot of wonderful taste, lot of visuals, right? A lot of sensory perceptions we have in the second stanza. And third stanza, music of autumn. Beautiful poem. Each stanza, three stanzas, each stanza elaborating, describing three things, right? Wonderful poem of John Keats. So with that, we come to the end of the discussion of this model question. As we know, this is in fact question paper of November 2019, right? And this is of maximum of 80, and it is 2.5 hours time. So maybe internal examination there could be half of these questions. We have 15 short questions here. So in internal examination it could be just 8. So internal examination it could be just 1 and maybe 1.25. That is of course 75 minutes at 40 marks. So it could be just 8 short question, and the maximum mark would be just 40 in internal examinations, right? So this is the structure and pattern of the question paper of Ways with Words. Please read the text very well, answer all the questions in the text, and get a wonderful score in your examination. May God bless you. Thank you.